PV TV Weekly News from the 8th Annual Solar Power International Expo, which is being held in Dallas, Texas. Known as the oil state, Texas is becoming one of the fastest growing solar energy markets in the U.S. In our today's top story, we will talk about Jinko Solar, which has just resumed production at a cell factory after completing upgrades and reviewing policies following a chemical spill that prompted protests by local villagers.
Unfortunately, it has been exaggerated all over the media. If you read in our website the real facts that are published in our press releases, you will see the real truth. The thing is that never our production has been affected by any kind of incident in environment. Has been mainly the storage of some fluoride outside the factory, outside the facilities in a storage area. Unfortunately, it was an isolated incident that we are assuming was due to the heavy rains during 3 days that were leaking this part of solid waste outside the factory, leaking to the small channel of water. It was generating in riots of people that also has been identified by police, and 31 has been detained, and in fact 13 has been also been in previous occasions having these kind of riots and incidents in other occasions. So what we are now seeing is that the situation is much normalized. The population there in Haining is quite convinced everything is fine, and our production operations is running as always before, so no more incidents.
And what security measures are you taking to prevent such occurrences in the future?
Right, so mainly what we have done first is to collaborate very jointly with the local government to make sure that they visit our factories, and we have invited a very important company there to do internal auditing. So after they give the green light, we resume the operations as we did last week, and everything has been under control. What we have done is to put in place a lot of process again in terms of storage, and we will not have any more this outside storage that was creating the liquid.
We will publish a full interview with Arturo Herrero in the upcoming days, and now we will bring you some news from Washington and see why SPI came to Texas.
The top priority for the Solar Energy Industry Association is to extend the 1603 Treasury Program. This is a program that expires by the end of this year, and we are doing an all-out effort, bringing the CEOs into Washington, bringing individual companies, asking the entire industry to reach out to their member of Congress or their senator and ask for their support of the 1603 program. We think we're actually in a great position to get the program extended for at least one additional year. But unfortunately, the difficulty is that Congress doesn't seem to be passing any legislation right now. So once we get through the super committee recommendations for debt reduction, which should be done by the end of November, then I think we'll have a real chance to see a tax extenders bill or a larger bill on which the extension of the 1603 program will be part.
Can you tell us, why did you decide to make this year's SPI in Dallas?
Well, I think something a lot of people don't know is that the show actually has grown to be so big and so successful that we actually can't fit in any of the convention centers in California anymore. So we had to leave California, which is a great thing because it shows the success of not only the show but the solar industry as well. So we knew we had to leave California. We looked at our other options, and honestly the show is so big that we don't have many options. But we wanted to, since we did have to leave the California market, find another market where we felt there was great solar potential, and we thought Texas was a good option. The state could use a little push to get some policies in place and some real activity going for a market that has so much potential.
And can you tell us a little bit about the perspectives of solar in Texas?
Yeah, I think it's there are, like I said, lots of potential, very exciting opportunities. We haven't seen a lot of activity on the policy side of things yet, but the municipal utilities in Texas are very engaged. CPS Energy, which is the municipal utility in San Antonio, is getting very active in solar. They're looking to do up to 400 megawatts of solar in the next couple of years. Austin Energy is also very active, as they have been for many, many years, on residential, small commercial, schools, but now they're also about to finish up a 30 megawatt project in Austin. So there are some exciting things already happening in Texas, and we look forward to seeing more.
We also inquired about the health of the U.S. industry after Solyndra, Evergreen, and SpectraWatt's failures.
The health of the U.S. industry is very strong. Solyndra, Evergreen, Solon, and others really should be thought of as exceptions rather than the rule. The industry is growing at 69% year over year, which is a phenomenal growth. It's one of the fastest growing industries in the entire United States. We're currently employing 100,000 Americans at 5,000 companies across the U.S. So we're never happy when a company closes its doors, like in the case of Solyndra. But when you are in a really fast-growing industry and you have an intense competition, there's always going to be some winners and some losers. And unfortunately for Solyndra, they came out on the short end of the stick. But we're very optimistic about the future and the health of the U.S. industry.
Solar PV TV was invited to Women in Solar Breakfast, the second annual Women in Solar gathering at SPI. In this industry dominated by men, women are slowly increasing in numbers and emerging as leaders, filling in various positions and roles. Stay tuned for a full reportage on Women in Solar.
I was at Solar Power International 2 years ago, and there were hardly any women, and it was just amazing to see how many people came to the Women in Solar breakfast. I think what I see is that a lot of women come from other industries, particularly from the technology industry, and they apply skills and expertise that they've gained at those industries to the solar industry, which I think is great. The industry is changing, and there will be more people required to know about marketing and about finance and about just service companies that are becoming part of the entire solar infrastructure. And so I think it will be natural that there will be a big migration of good talent.
That's all from our SPI's issue of Weekly News. Next week, we will bring you a report from solar war battlefields and opinions of leading US, European, and Chinese companies on fair competition. Last but not least, we're very proud to announce the launch of our first commercial video production for the solar industry, done by White Gorilla Media and Solar PV TV.